On the ground and in the air, Ukraine is fighting for survival. But to do it, Kyiv needs data, targeting information, images from spy satellites and communication intercepts. A large amount of it comes from the US, but no more.
You're right now not in a very good position.
Donald Trump has turned it off, using it as leverage to try and force Ukraine to the negotiating table.
If it was a small amount of intelligence, the Ukrainians could probably have dealt with that. But if it's all been turned off, it's causing some real problems. And the biggest problem is its early warning capability. The early warning of the launch of ballistic missiles, the launch of Russian aircraft that carry their cruise missiles, the launch of the swarms of the Shahad drones coming in, because that was used to warn the Ukrainian public, allow them to get into their shelters, and allow Ukrainian air defenses to deal with it. With that gone, there's going to be more civilian casualties.
Ukraine has used high-end American weaponry, ATACMS missiles and HIMARS rocket artillery to hit Russian positions. These need targeting data, much of it provided by American satellites.
Different weapon systems require different systems that are owned by the United States or others to help guide them to their targets. So the intelligence is needed, to identify a target for HIMARS or for ATACMS or for something else. And then once that is put into the system, it's guided through US military-grade GPS. It's different to the normal GPS that we got because it's much more accurate. Now, whether there are workarounds around that or not is something I can't go into. But the targeting data, especially reaching into Russia and some of the deep targeting, is something that the US capability will have been being used to monitor and to look at it. And other nations will have not deployed or do not have the capability to fill that void.
Britain is America's closest intelligence partner, and it's also supplying weaponry to Ukraine that needs data to function. The Anglo-French Storm Shadow cruise missile that the UK has supplied has been highly effective in Ukraine. These were Storm Shadows attacking Russia's Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Sevastopol. What will be the effect on them of this US intelligence freeze?
The only reason why I think that there was difficulty in the authorization of the use of Storm Shadow, which is an Anglo-French missile, is that it contained components that are what are called ITAR components. So they're US military components that are needed to make the missile work, and that is almost certainly within the guidance systems that are in there. Whether the guidance has been turned off as part of the intelligence turn-off is not clear, because GPS, even military GPS, doesn't quite fall into the intelligence remit. So there's a lot of speculation around the statements that have come out of the United States.
The Russians are continuing to make slow, grinding advances in the east of Ukraine, but while Kyiv's forces have bent, they haven't broken. So will this pause on weapons and intelligence sharing change that? What will be the impact on the front line?
At the very lowest tactical level, in the trenches and everything else, it's not going to affect the day-to-day fighting. The big impact will be where Ukraine has been having massive successes and is actually beating the Russians, is at the operational level, where Ukraine has been targeting an awful lot of Russian infrastructure, trying to target the sites where aircraft are being launched from, where drones are being launched from, where command and control headquarters are, with long-range drones and with other longer-range weapon systems. That's going to be harder for Ukraine to replicate the intelligence gathering that gives them that targeting information to do that. It was attacking that has got Russia to a point where it's having difficulty in maintaining its support for its tactical operations on the front line. And that's where this war will be won or lost.
Ukraine does have far more homegrown intelligence capabilities now than it did in 2022. Long-range reconnaissance drones, plus access to a commercial spy satellite constellation called ICI. What effect this loss of US data will have won't be clear for a while, but for Moscow, it presents a dark opportunity, a vacuum it's bound to try and exploit on the battlefield. Simon Newton, BFBS Forces News. Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.